Welcome back to the Disc Golf Show. This is episode 1 of the 2026 season. And first off, before I get into anything, I want to say Happy New Year. I hope you had a wonderful, safe, Merry Christmas and New Year's Eve with your loved ones and friends. But as always, this episode or this podcast is brought to you in part by our sponsors, the first being our local pro shop, Final Nine Sports. If you are in the Northern California area in Sacramento, you can find their 2 locations, one in Orangevale and one in Rocklin. As always, we suggest go support local. Always support your local pro shops. However, if you're unable to do so, thanks to Disc Golf Deals USA, you can use our link discgolfdealsusa.com/discgolfshow and you can save 10% off of your entire order. There are a few exclusions that do apply, but baskets, bags, discs, accessories, all those goods, go there, save that 10%. It adds up. As always, we like to start off with good news, so I will give a shout out to Gavin and Destinee Rathbun on their recent wedding. Congratulations. Also, I think it was yesterday or today, they announced that they're having a baby. So double congratulations. That is amazing. We hope the best, smooth upcoming waiting period, I guess is what you'd say, before that new edition comes. So congratulations to both of you. Moving forward, we do have, there are a lot of announcements of the extensions or changes, sponsorship and all that stuff. But before we get to that, I do want to give a couple shout outs to the PDGA Players and Rookies of the Year for 2025. And those are Gannon, Buhr, and Silva Saarinen got the PDGA Players of the Year. And rightfully so. Saarinen kind of made her stamp in this last year. And Gannon was, again, quite dominant. I believe he was I think it's 17 out of 20, 13 out of 20. He was in podium. And he didn't place out of the top 20 in 2025. So shout out to him. As for the rookies, we do have Landon Brooks and Iida Lehtomaki. And you do know Iida from that somewhat controversial upshot at the not European Open, but Worlds against Own. And then, Landon Brooks. So shout out to those guys for their awards, Players of the Year and Rookie of the Year. Moving on, we are going to jump in and run through some of these sponsorship changes. And actually, I do want to do a quick shout out to everybody who's following. I should have done this at the beginning of the show. I do notice the increase in subscribers and everything, so it's very much appreciated. And all that support, all of you that have stayed around, really appreciate it. And all the new people, I hope you stick around and enjoy what I'm offering here. All right, jumping into the sponsorship changes, guys. We'll go through these in kind of categories. We have a few joining, so newer contracts. One being Kevin Kiefer III. He joined Discraft in addition to another Wysocki. We have Zach Wysocki who joined Discraft. And last but not least, for joining currently new contracts is Carter Aarons, and he has signed with Innova moving forward into the 2026 season. Extensions, there are a ton. If you haven't seen them on social media, and I don't know why they do this, but I think they're like the main one that does this. Innova announces the contracts and not the specific players. They do, but after Innova has announced. So Innova announced a bunch of extensions. We'll run through these really quick here. Una Heinonen, Holly Finley, Emily Weatherman, Dennis Augustin, Philo, Own, Kat Murch, Jessica and Garrett Gerthy, recently married this last year, and having babies, so shout out. Juliana Corver, Jennifer Allen, Greg Barsby, Evelina Solonen, Hannah Blomroos, Bradley Williams, Sophia Donachie, Rasmus Sakaripi, I slaughtered that one probably, Vainomakala and Rebecca Dawn. Those are all the like extensions. However, there were a couple others. Anneli Tugas Maniste did extend, but also got bumped to the Innova champion team, in addition to Iida Lehtomaki. She was promoted to the champion team as well. Outside of Innova, we have a few in Discraft. So Alexis Mondahano stays with Discraft. The Linz twins, if you don't watch them, go check out their YouTube. Morgan and Jordan Linz are staying with Discraft. Taylor Chochik, aka Discte, she's staying with Discraft. And Alexis Kerman is also staying with Discraft. Mason Ford got an extension with both Meridian and Mint discs. We saw that Parker Welk, although Dynamic Discs isn't adding a ton of people, Parker Welk is one that they are keeping, so he has an extension. Raven Newsom got a 1-year extension with MVP. Johnny McRae got a year extension with Latitude 64. And Lucas Rokkanen got a year extension with Prodiscus. He's a Finnish player with that Finnish manufacturer. In addition, we do have quite a few people leaving that, whether they're going to announce a new manufacturer sponsor or not, we'll run through these. I know that, guys, this is probably going to be somewhat of a longer episode, but let's get through these and then we can get on to some other news. Leaving, obviously, Aaron Gossage has recently announced that he has left Discraft. There are some rumors that people are speculating about him going to MVP or possibly an open bag like Infinite or something like that. We will see. He does state that, he will have some news soon, so stay tuned. Also, Kevin Jones, otherwise known as the KJ USA, split from Innova, and there are also rumors of him going to MVP. So we will see if either of those pan out, and we will let you know. Calvin Longquist parted ways with Innova. Cynthia Ricciardi left Discmania. Lexi Marks left Discmania. Dynamic Discs announced splitting with Raven Klein, Ty Love, and Evan Smith. We have Julia Fors, who is a 13-year-old Swedish national FPO champion, actually declined an offer from Discraft. Now, whether that's getting a better offer or waiting out on a better offer or possibly just holding off, maybe finish school and get more of a foothold on what she actually wants moving forward. But declined an offer with Discraft, so we will see what happens with Julia Force. Kaidi Alsalu parted way with Prodigy, and Raven Klein, well, we already said that, parted way with Dynamic Discs. A couple unconfirmed also is Holland Handley and Paige Pierce. They're both on Discraft. I don't necessarily see that changing, but we'll see, I guess. And in addition to that, for Paige Pierce, she did just mention on one of her recent posts that she's actually designing her first course, and it happens to be in Canada. So we will see what comes of that. The last thing with moves is kind of, I don't know. Currently his sponsorship or his current contract is through the end of this year, but that can always change. That can always change depending if somebody buys out the remaining contract, if there's a disagreement and a fallout. I mean, I don't necessarily see that being the case, but possibly. Is Gannon Buhr. There are talks about Gannon Buhr going to Discraft. He's currently with Discmania, and he's obviously the biggest name really in disc golf currently in the professional competitive arena. But, I mean, will that be for this year? I don't think so. Is it kind of a teaser for the next upcoming year? Possibly, seeing as how his contract is ending at the end of 2026. But we'll see. We'll see. There was a lot there, guys. Let's move on. There's some announcement relating to the Pro Worlds Championship in 2026. Discraft was recently announced as a major sponsor. This is going to be held at the Toboggan and Black Locust courses, Kensington Metropark. It has, they've announced that there's a $300,000 infrastructure investment, which includes grandstands, VIP terraces, family zones, expanding vending, and premium spectator experiences. There's a lot going on with, being able to bring family members. That way you're not trying to find people to watch your kids. If you want to go to this event, you can bring them. There's going to be things for them to do there. As for tickets, there's a wide range of cost when it comes to that. It will range from the lowest of $10, which is extremely reasonable for a Pro World Championship, all the way up to $4,500. And the $4,500 is actually for 2 people, and it involves quite a bit. I think there's like $2,000 worth of products that you get, and access, and food, and playing with the pros at both the courses prior to the event. There's a lot going on with that, but you can always, seeing as how there's so much, it's too much to really to run through on here, especially with all the tiers of tickets. What I suggest is going to Detroit26.com to get all your information there as to if you're interested in going to that and what is included in each of those tiers of tickets. Outside of the Pro, we do have an announcement for the 2026 AM Worlds Championship, and that is that Dynamic Discs will be the presenting sponsor. So we haven't heard a ton of news from Dynamic Discs over the past couple years. I know that they've had a lot going on, internal, structure-wise, corporation-wise, with how things are being run and who's running it. But hopefully they do make a comeback, and it seems like, they're moving in that direction. Outside of that, PDGA, this year is the 50th anniversary of the PDGA. We did announce recently was the 50th anniversary of Oak Grove Park, the first permanent disc golf course with baskets. But PDGA having their 50th year anniversary, I'm surprised to not having seen a lot more stuff advertisement-wise from them on this, but they do have a set of MVP discs for their lineup for the 50th year, and MVP makes good products, and their stamps are always really cool for the most part, especially when it comes to promotional stamps and stuff like that. So if you are interested in getting those 50-year anniversary discs, go check those out on the PDGA's Pro Shop. Or not the Pro Shop. I believe it's when you sign up, renew your PDGA membership, then you might have access to that. There is a benefit though, again, talking about Dynamic Discs, is they have done an agreement with the PDGA that they are offering, when you have a valid PDGA membership, you can get 15% off of their website. So maybe that will encourage the other manufacturers to do the same. Maybe it won't. We will see if that does spread across the gamut of manufacturers. There were some updates as to some decline in counts and averages for memberships over the past few years. There's a gentleman by the name of Kevin Free who's been kind of keeping track of these over the past 3 years, and he just updated the most recent. Those numbers, also shared by Brody Smith, those numbers go as follows. And let me know what you think about this, because I mean, this one of them is interesting. The other is, with the track record, doesn't look great. End of 2023, there was 136,600 active members in the PDGA, and at the start of 2024, so that means that people who right away renewed their memberships, like right out the gate, maybe before 2024 started, but that initial count was 48,800. At the end of 2024, there was 126,150 active members, which is 10,000 less than the end of 2023. And then at the start of 2025, only 36,000 active members right at the get-go of 2025. So that's a 12,000, almost 13,000 active member drop at the beginning of the year. And then most recently, the end of last year, 115,200 active members. another 11,000 drop from the previous year. And the beginning of this year, only 28,700 active members right away. So does that mean that there's a massive decline? We are seeing the drop from COVID and the plateau of growth currently. And I'm sure that it will take time. There's always those big jumps from whatever it may be, whether it's social media awareness or exposure or mainstream exposure or whatnot. But I mean, with that track record, doesn't look great, but it also isn't horrible. What I would be curious is to see those numbers prior to. So the starting numbers are kind of, I don't know, by the end of the year, you have people who get their registration just to play an event because they decided to play an event that year. But at the start of the year, those numbers dropping like that is a little bit worrisome. But I would like to see the start counts from previous years, if that is something that's available. So going back to, let's say, 2015, seeing what those initial counts were at the beginning of the year of people who renewed prior to, so those automatic renewals. Outside of the total overall, we do have an update for the PDGA Europe active members count, and they currently, or at the end of 2025 anyway, they had 21,444 active members, which is really cool because it's only 0.9% from their all-time record over in Europe. So again, European disc golfers take disc golf extremely seriously. We've been told ever since we started this that there's no casual rounds over there. It's you get better, and you're out there to get better, and that's it. Although I'm sure there's those people that do enjoy just throwing and having fun, but there's a more serious aspect and outlook from the European disc golfers when it comes to at least disc golf. I'm sure most sports, but all right, moving on, guys. We do have kind of a new side. Aside from PDGA, there's a new organization that started called the Worldwide Disc Golf Organization. And the reason why I bring this up is because they are adamant about protecting female divisions. And that is one of their staples that they've stated. And, we'll see if this does do anything, affect the PDGA at all, see how this grows over the next year, see how it affects any players, if there are any pros that lean into this, and see what will be offered from them as well. I'll try to get some more information on it. It is very, very new. But one of the things that I did want to note is in relation to the female, everybody knows I don't know if you know my opinion on female protected divisions. I'm pro protecting female divisions. Just as a note, in another sport, there was a recent post from a tennis match, and it's a tennis match that's called the Battle of the Sexes. Now, the reason why I bring this up is in relation to the female protected divisions. At this, just to show that there is a difference. There's a difference, guys. Hate me or agree with me, whatever. There's a difference in my opinion. The world women's number one, Aryna, Aryna is her first name, Sabalenka, lost to Nick Kyrgios, the 671st ranked man, world ranked. So the world's number one female lost to the 671st world's male. I'm just saying, it is going to be interesting now, again, moving forward, how, and I mentioned this before, how the PDGA is going to address this because the Olympics Committee has stated that they are changing their rules. And so I know that the PDGA has kind of followed that, but we will see. We will see. If you want to learn more about them, go to WWDGO.com and you can check them out there. Last but not least in the news is and maybe you have, maybe you haven't heard this, Ian Anderson was dropped from the DGPT DGN booth as a commentator. It's sad to see. Again, we heard somewhat about this before, but you know, that'll also be interesting to see how or if that affects the coverage in 2026. Everybody has their own personal opinions and the characters that they like and the characteristics of people that they like or that they don't like when it comes to announcing for sports. It's across the gamut, football, anything like that, basketball. But to me, it's sad. I liked Ian. 100% of him, the things he said, not necessarily, but I thought he was a great ambassador for disc golf. He's been a huge promoter of disc golf, along with his Central Coast Disc Golf coverage channel that he does on YouTube. So go check him out there. He did mention that he's starting some new TikTok channels, so go check him out on there as well. But you know, he's got champs versus chumps he mentioned, and people like to see those. I like seeing those fun rounds that they do coverage of and manage and set up for people to be closer and have closer access to pros. But outside of that, he did mention that there's a new big outside of the sport sponsor coming to the DGPT DGN for 2026. We will see what that is soon, I'm sure, because the season will be starting up earlier this year than it was the previous year. And if you do want to watch that little interview that he had, you can check out the link. There'll be a link down below. Before we get on to the question of the episode, guys, just do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Subscribe, please. Share notifications if you like, but very much appreciated. Again, I don't see me stopping providing. I don't see there being a stop to me providing this content to you guys. I hope you do appreciate it, and I enjoy doing it. So, all right. As for question of the episode, this is related kind of to the final topic in the news, is do you watch Disc Golf Network live coverage? And if so, who would be your suggestion for the commentating team? There's a lot of choices, whether it's actually who would you like to see in there, even if they were let go. If it is Ian, if it's Terry, obviously Terry's going to be probably on course more, but who is your favorite and who are some personalities that you think would be good in the booth or out on the course? Let me know down below. I always like seeing your guys' comments, so thank you for that. Moving on to gear and equipment. This one's going to be quick. This segment is brought to you by Disc Golf Deals USA. So go to discgolfdealsusa.com/discgolfshow. Save that 10% on all your goods, clothes, baskets. Need a practice basket, carts, bags, discs, of course. Go save that 10%. It does add up. So there was only one disc that was recently approved since 2 weeks ago was the last time, I think, 3 weeks ago. But we do know that the manufacturers kind of stop doing things for the last couple weeks of the year. So it isn't a super shock that there wasn't much there wasn't anything the past couple episodes. But as for this episode, the one disc that was approved is the IMPA by Castoplast. So go check that out. Outside of approved discs, we do have a couple other announcements here. There is a company called Alpha Discs. It's ALFA discs.no. So Norway-based manufacturer. They have been around for quite a while. Not a crazy amount of time, but a decent amount of time. Excuse me. a decent amount of time, and they are making another push to bring back their products. So if you are interested or are in the area, or maybe you're overseas from here, from me, maybe you're in Europe, check out alphadiscs.no, ALFA discs.no, and check out their products. The other item that I wanted to touch on, and you aren't going to get your hands on it because it's sold out, but it was teased and then recently announced, of the Blob. And it was teased by Ledgestone. It's a Brian Earhart designed or made disc. It was molded by Discraft. It ends up being, what it is a super heavyweight crystal FLX Ultra Star, and it's 200 plus gram disc. There were only 500 made. It's not a PDGA approved and recommended, but it is an extremely fun disc by what they say. They are all sold out. I wish I would have been able to get my hands on one, but hopefully we can get some opinions outside and see what it's like. Maybe, yeah, there are 500 of this version. Maybe if it's a fun enough disc, maybe they'll make more, guys. Cross your fingers. Maybe you'll get one in the future. Outside of that, again, we like to promote the most used item that you use when out on the disc golf course is your shoes. So big shout out to the two companies that really support disc golf. And that is Iida Sports, which is a disc golf designed and produced disc golf shoe. They have low top and high top. The Syncrasy Evo is the low top and the Brawler is the high top. They have version 2 is out, so go check them out at Iida Sports, so IDIO sports.com. And then in addition to that, Vessi shoes. If you haven't heard of Vessi shoes, they're, again, both of these companies, waterproof, lightweight. I do believe Iida Sports is a little more lightweight than Vessi, but waterproof, which is super beneficial, especially in the winter season. But yeah, everybody has their own personal preference to the shoes that they like to wear, and those are definitely two differently designed shoes. So go check those out. Again, Iida Sports and Vessi. As for upcoming events, we're getting closer, guys, but I did want to touch on the majors that were announced and let you know what those dates and events are. So April 8th to 11th is the Collegiate Disc Golf National Championship. April 9th to 12th is the PDGA Champions Cup. May 7th to 10th is the Tim Selinsky U.S. Masters Disc Golf Championships. June 4th to 7th is the U.S. Amateur Disc Golf Championships. June 18th to 21st is going to be the European Major. July 7th to 11th, the Junior Disc Golf World Championships. July 16th to 19th is the USWDGC. August 8th to 15th is the Amateur Disc Golf World Championships. And right after that, August 26th to 30th is the Pro Disc Golf World Championships. And September 22 to 26 is Masters Disc Golf World Championships. And then last but not least, one of my favorite events is October 8th to 11th is the USDGC. So those are your majors. Yeah. 2026 season is almost here, guys. I'm excited to see what that brings. Yeah, let's move on. Move on to the mailbag, guys. This is where we do suggest product reviews or community videos. The product that I would like to touch on is a smaller niche within our small niche, is an artist by the name of Noel Smith. You can check out his items, his artwork at brushartbynoel.com. Go check him out. He does have disc golf related paintings on there, but he also does a lot of other style paintings. He does like birds, insects, landscape. He does a bunch of stuff and it's really, really cool. It gives me kind of a Dr. Seuss vibe on some of the items that he does. But yeah, go check him out. I like those type of things. I think we need more artistic products out there outside of just functional items for disc golfers. Something that you can either hang in your house, something that you can use outside just in your everyday life. I think that is, honestly, I think that's a big thing that would help disc golf grow outside of the current community as well. Because, you know, you have some really, really cool visuals that you have on a shirt or something like that. Somebody goes, oh, that's cool. Where'd you get that? Oh, well, it's a disc golf shirt. So I don't know, just a personal thought. As for a video, my fallback is always Simon Lizotte or Silas Schultz. But I would suggest, again, touching back on the final news segment, is go check out this small video or the little video interview with Ian Anderson. You can tell that it affected him negatively. Obviously, it's negative because he lost his position in the booth. But you can tell, again, I hope the best for him. I hope maybe he comes back around and they go, you know what, we can afford more people, or we see that we made a bad choice, or whatever it is. I hope he knows that he's appreciated in the disc golf community, and that whatever he does do, he will be supported by us disc golfers. So go check him out and check that video out. Just look it up. If you look up Ian Anderson interview, I'm sure that'll pop up on YouTube. Well, this was honestly the longest video so far out of these weeklies that I've been doing. But that brings us to the end of the show, guys. As always, we like to give you ways to save money. One of those is by going to Upper Park Disc Golf and you use code DiscGolfShow. You can save some money on bags there. If you are looking for anything outside of that, go to discgolfdealsusa.com/discgolfshow. Save 10%. Get a new bag. Get a cart. Get a practice basket. Get a practice net. Get clothes. New discs. Mystery boxes. Accessories. Guys, they got everything on there. discgolfdealsusa.com/discgolfshow. Save that 10%. And then big shout out again, moving into 2026 here, to Final Nine Sports, our local pro shop. If you are in the Northern California, Sacramento area, you can find their locations at Orangevale and in Rocklin. And yeah, guys, nothing but up, apparently, because this beginning of this year looks like it started off rough for some of those players that did not continue with their contracts or did not get extensions, in addition to the slight looking decline in members of the PDGA. But again, guys, stay looking at the positives. Last but not least, hit that subscribe button, click that like, share it, notifications, all the goods, and I will see you in the next one, guys. Happy New Year.